Alrighty, let's move on to this, folks. And, gotta love it. Gotta love it when we talk about things and then, that thing, it just gets highlighted once we talk about it. You gotta love seeing that. But, we were the first ones to talk about it, but, we won't brag too much here. But here we go. Last week we talked on the show of Tom Brady, what he would be willing to give up to trade in or to get that perfect season, beating Eli Manning in the Super Bowl and going 19-0. We heard, a little bit of a softball lob. Hey, Tom, would you trade 2 of your 7 rings if it meant you can get the perfect season? And Tom Brady said absolutely. But we kind of picked that apart. We were like, Tom, we want to know, we want to know the more specifics. What is the most that you would give up for those rings? We never heard that, so we had to speculate ourselves and kind of said he would kind of give up 4 rings so we could still have 3 and the perfect season. So we talked about that on the show, and then here comes today. Justin Tuck says that Tom told him something like this years ago, and it was way more than just 2 rings, folks. So now, once again, we've got Tom Brady coming out here saying, hey, yeah, I'd trade 2 rings, for that perfect season, but we want to know the extremes because we want to ask Tom Brady tough questions now. Tom Brady does not deserve any more softball questions. Tom Brady is in another stratosphere of elite quarterbacks, folks. There is nobody else in Tom Brady's league, so we don't have to ask him softball questions. We want to know the specifics. Would you trade all 7 of your rings? Would you trade 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? That's what we want to know. The exact number of rings that Tom Brady would trade in to get the perfect season, 19-0 against Eli Manning in the Super Bowl. So what we're going to do now, is try, we didn't do this the first time we did it. That's why we're doing it now. But we're going to go look at every single Super Bowl that Tom Brady's played in and see which ones he probably would get rid of to get that perfect season. So here we go. Tom Brady, 10 Super Bowls. Cannot believe it. Absolutely fantastic. But here we go. His first Super Bowl comes in 2001 against St. Louis. St. Louis Rams. They're not even in St. Louis anymore. They win by 3 points. Fantastic. Would Tom Brady trade in his first Super Bowl win for that kind of ring of the perfect season? So let's see. It's hard to do on this one because it's your first ring. Really don't think Tom Brady would give up ring number 1, especially when it's against Kurt Warner. That means Kurt Warner gets another ring, and when we're looking at the greatest of all time, now kind of revised because Tom Brady's going to be trading in some rings here. He's not going to want to trade in his first against Kurt Warner. So I think, especially and Marshall Faulk, that means Marshall Faulk gets another ring, and I don't think Tom Brady wants to have the rings. He wants to kind of be the best winner of all time, the most kind of blinged out of all time, the greatest quarterback of all time. So don't really think, and then that means Terry Holt gets a ring, another ring. I don't think he's got a ring, but Terry Holt gets a ring. So these are like 3 great players, Hall of Fame caliber players that would get a ring. So I don't think Tom Brady would trade in ring number 1, first ring, and then that means Marshall Faulk gets a ring. A rival in the greatest quarterback of all time, Kurt Warner, would get another ring. So do not think Tom Brady would be willing to give away ring 1. So let's count out his first Super Bowl ring. He's going to keep that. Alrighty, then comes the second Super Bowl win against Carolina in 2003. Another 3-point win here. And now this one, he probably could trade in a little bit. The quarterback of the Panthers was Jake Delhomme, folks. That's no competition for greatest of all time. And really, the only good player here that would get a ring would be Steve Smith. So he actually gets a ring, and I'm about Steve Smith getting a ring. I would like that. So I think Tom Brady could definitely trade in ring number 2. Doesn't really hurt too much overall in the kind of greatest quarterback of all time discussion. No other kind of elite players on that Carolina team that could kind of bite him in the butt if he trades in that ring of just kind of being one of the greatest winners of all time. So we can see Tom Brady trading away ring 2. He trades in ring 2. So that's at least 1 ring. Alrighty, then he goes against Philadelphia. Here we go in 2005. Another 3-point win here for the Patriots. All, clutch time wins here. Very well done. But, the quarterback of the Eagles here was Donovan McNabb. Do you give Donovan McNabb a ring? And look at this man throwing 3 interceptions in a Super Bowl. Absolutely pathetic, dude. Come on, get it together. You are in the biggest game of the year, and you're throwing 3 picks? Terrell Owens would also get a ring. So in that, Andy Reid would get a ring as a head coach, battling out Bill a little bit for greatest kind of winning head coach of all time. So I think, once again, it would be a little hard to give up this Eagles ring just because you're giving it to another great quarterback of Donovan McNabb. So this Super Bowl number 3 ring, definitely harder to give up. I don't think he does. I don't think he trades it in. I don't think he can kind of trade in that Philadelphia ring. So we're not saying that he trades in ring 3. Then comes the 2 losses against the Giants. 2007 they lose, 2011 they lose, and then that comes 2014, back to winning, back to getting another ring that he could potentially trade in here. This time it is against the Seattle Seahawks. Now it may be a little easier to trade in this ring because they basically lost this game anyway. I mean, it just came down to like the final seconds on the goal line. Tom Brady was not expecting the interception by Malcolm Butler to win the Super Bowl. So in that aspect, it would be a little easier to give up this ring because it kind of felt like he didn't win the ring just in general while the game was going on. But then you have to look at, Russell Wilson. He gets another ring. He would have 2 rings. And just that aspect, we're going to be talking of Russell Wilson like we talk about Aaron Rodgers, folks. I mean, truly, we're going to be comparing Russell Wilson to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Maybe a little underwhelming just overall in his career of only winning that 1 ring. Exactly like Aaron Rodgers, he's got the arm. Russell Wilson's got the arm as big as, Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. He's got the escapability. He's great. He's fantastic. He's humble. He's everything. So another ring that would be a little hard to give up against this Seahawks team. Russell Wilson gets another one. So we can't really see that he would trade in the Seattle ring. Then you go against Atlanta and win, and this is another tough ring to kind of trade in because this was the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, one of the greatest comebacks of all time. So I don't know if he's going to trade in this Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl ring. Yes, you give Matt Ryan a ring. I don't really think we're going to be talking about Matt Ryan as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So in that aspect, Tom Brady would probably be willing to trade in this ring, but at the end of the day, it's the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. I don't think he would want to give up that ring. So can't really see him giving up this Atlanta ring either. And then the Philadelphia Super Bowl, they lose that, so can't trade in that ring. And then comes the Rams. He would definitely trade in this ring, folks. A 13-3 win. Jared Goff, he can't even, stay with the Rams. He's not that good. So I would definitely say he would trade in this Rams ring as well. Doesn't really hurt him in the greatest of all time category with Jared Goff. It was a lackluster Super Bowl anyway in terms of offense and offensive scoring. I mean, folks, the Rams put up 3 points. They put up 3 points in the Super Bowl. So I would say that Tom Brady would kind of trade in ring number, which one is this? 3, 4, 5, 6. This is ring 6. All right, so he trades in ring 6. And then just the last one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't think he trades in this one either. Going against Patrick Mahomes, once again going against Andy Reid, beating him, getting, year 1 with the Bucs, kind of rubbing it in Bill Belichick's face. This is definitely a ring that, really cements Tom Brady as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It also kind of disrupted the entire NFC East. I mean, we just heard of big kind of outcries of Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson in this offseason of not wanting to play with their teams anymore because of what Tom Brady did year 1. So, when you're just talking about it, just talk about, I'd give away, 2 rings, 3 rings. Yeah, but we want to know specifically which ones because, they all kind of have, their downfalls if you trade these rings in. You trade away the first Super Bowl ring. That's your first one early on in your career against Kurt Warner. So there are kind of, blowbacks of these rings trading in. But we can definitively say, 2 rings looking really, really lackluster compared to all the other ones that you could be able to trade in. Like we said, the Super Bowl against Carolina, no big name quarterback there, nothing to really worry about. And then the Rams, once again, no real big quarterback to worry about in the greatest of all time category, lackluster Super Bowl anyway. So those 2 rings he could definitely trade in. But let's go back to this quote here that Justin Tuck said that it would be more than 2 rings. So if we're just kind of speculating on which actual rings Tom Brady is going to give up, more than 2, it would probably be, if we have to put it in order, maybe the Philadelphia ring. That would probably be the next ring given away. and then maybe the Seattle one, just because, like we said, they basically lost that one anyway. It was basically looking like a loss anyway, so he wouldn't have been losing that much in general, if you can kind of, understand what I'm trying to express there. So I would say at max 4 rings, with, giving up the ring of the Eagles and giving away the ring of the Seahawks. Maybe he gives away the first ring against the St. Louis Rams with Kurt Warner and then keeps the one against Russell Wilson. So that's also another thing. But, we could see definite 2 rings going away. 4, he's kind of compromising, either giving Kurt Warner another ring or Russell Wilson another ring. And that's where it gets a little kind of, all right, now is it truly worth it for one more ring of an undefeated season against the Eli Manning. So, I would definitely love to, know exactly which ones Tom Brady's giving up. And that's something I wish everybody asked Tom Brady. I don't want to hear another question from a reporter that's not related to which rings are Tom Brady giving up to get the perfect season over Eli Manning of going 19-0. So that's the real question. Let's stop asking this man softball questions. He's way too good to be hitting home runs off softball lob questions, folks. I mean, come on. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's get down into the details. So, we don't have to wait until, the documentary, The Last Dance, like Michael Jordan, that just came out last year, 7-parter documentary, and then we hear all the answers. We want to know now. And then, we'll follow up this question, 20 years down the line as well. But let's get the answer right now and see if anything changes as, quarterbacks start to win. Russell Wilson's going to be playing well after, Tom Brady's gone. So, we can kind of track that as well. But, let's stop asking Tom Brady softball questions, truly. Let's get down. Let's know exactly, detail, which rings are you giving up? You said you're giving up a definite 2. Which 2? We want to know, because I think we know, but we want to hear from, we want to hear from the horse, man. The horse needs to talk. Tom Brady, start talking. So we'll see if anything comes out of this story. But, we kind of talked about it already, and now we're talking about it again. I love it. I love it.